This is part 61, and in this part we will discuss chapter 20 of the Indian Penal Code dealing with offences relating to marriage. Now, once you start right from section 493 and come up to section 498 of the Indian Penal Code, the offences can be in general classified under three categories. The first category is what is known as mock marriage, which is not at all a marriage. And in order to understand this, we have to refer to section 493 and section 496 of the Indian Penal Code. To understand this is English term bigamy, and what is that? Marrying again during lifetime of husband or wife. Namely, marrying during the lifetime of either spouse is made punishable as far as section 494 is concerned. And then aggravated form of section 494 as far as the quantum of the punishment is concerned is dealt as far as section 495 of the Indian Penal Code is concerned. With this, we shall be dealing with one section, namely section 497, which defines the offence of adultery. And the last section 498, deals with enticing or taking away or detaining with criminal intent a married woman. Now, all these offences, irrespective of the nature of the punishment, if you refer to the fourth vertical column of the first schedule of the Criminal Procedure Code, you will find out that these offences are all non-cognizable offences, and hence whatever may be the punishment, who can set law into motion, the provision, it's not that anybody, it is only the aggrieved person, because these wrongs are treated as a private wrongs, and hence this is, it's not at all concerned with the world at large, but these are aspects with which you shall be dealing. For example, when you deal with the provisions of the Criminal Procedure Code and read section 198 of the Criminal Procedure Code, you will come to know it is only the aggrieved person who can set criminal law into motion. Cognizance shall not be taken unless there is a complaint on the part of the aggrieved person, and accordingly with which you shall be dealing, but then we start discussing the same. Now, what is section 498, last section? Let us finish with that section. And it says, whoever takes, one who takes or entices, she who is not ready and willing, but there is an inducement because of which you compel a woman to, or you practice deception and you induce a woman to accompany you. So whoever takes or entices any woman who is and whom he knows or has reason to believe to be the wife of any other man from that man. So if the woman is whom he knows or has reason to believe to be wife of any other man, and then he takes from that man or from any person having the care of her on behalf of that man, if such a woman is taken or if such a woman is enticed, then, and what is the intent? If she is taken with intent that she may have illicit intercourse with any person, in order to have illicit intercourse with any person, if such a woman is such a married woman is taken or enticed from a man or from any person having the care of her on behalf of that man, or if he conceals or detains with that intent, if she is concealed with the intention of having illicit intercourse or detains with that intent any such woman, shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for term, which may extend to 2 years, or with fine, or with both. So this is as far as section 498 of the Indian Penal Code is concerned. Now, if you start reading section 493, which deals with cohabitation caused by a man deceitfully inducing a belief of a lawful marriage, mind well one thing, this offence can be committed for which who can be charged or who can be convicted? Only man can be convicted, a woman cannot be convicted. And what it says, every man who by deceit causes any woman who is not lawfully married to him. So the woman is not lawfully married to him, but he causes any woman who is not lawfully married to him to believe that she is lawfully married to him. So he makes a woman to believe that he is a person to whom she is lawfully married, and then to cohabit he lives as a husband or compels her to live as a wife or have sexual intercourse with him in that belief. So why she is having a sexual intercourse? Because she believes that he is a person to whom she is lawfully married. And then what is the punishment? Shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. So here every man who by deceit causes any woman. So actually in fact the marriage has not taken place, but he makes a woman to believe. For example, this is just possible, for example, in case of a twin brother, or if a person, for example, came after so many years and tells the woman that when you were child and I was child, both of us were married. So and the marriage has actually in fact not at all taken place. This is and then every man who by deceit causes any woman who is not lawfully married to him to believe that she is lawfully married to him and to cohabit or to have sexual intercourse with him in that belief shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now exactly this also, when he has intercourse under this belief, then making her to believe, then that will also constitute liability for the offence of rape, because that is the one of the ingredients with which we dealt as far as section 375 of the Indian Penal Code is concerned. So cohabitation caused by a man deceitfully inducing a belief of a lawful marriage. And then if you read section 496, which says, so that is not at all a marriage, that is what is known as mock marriage. And now marriage ceremony fraudulently gone through without lawful marriage, and says whoever dishonestly or with a fraudulent intention goes through the ceremony of being married knowing that he is not thereby lawfully married shall be punished with imprisonment of either discretion for term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now there can be a marriage between two persons of the same religion. If at all there should be a marriage between man and a woman, man must be Hindu and a woman must be also Hindu. There cannot be marriage between a man who is Hindu and the woman is Christian, or woman is Parsi, or the woman is Muslim. No, there cannot be a marriage as per the personal law. And when we talk about personal law, there are certain ceremonies which are required to be followed. Then only you can say that the marriage has taken place, otherwise not. So now here the person, for example, goes through a ceremony of a marriage. Whoever dishonestly or with a fraudulent intention goes through the ceremony of being married, knowing that it is not thereby lawfully married. As you take an illustration regarding Hindu law. Then in case of a Hindu law, there must be a sacred fire and 7 steps are required to be taken in presence of sacred fire. Then only the marriage takes place, otherwise not. Merely putting off, merely by saying that you are my wife and I am your husband does not constitute a valid marriage. And then if at all Muslim wants to marry Hindu, there must be conversion of a religion, then only. There is only one exception. And what is that exception? Any man under the sun can marry any woman under the sun as per the provisions of the Special Marriage Act. So there is a provision, no doubt about it, but otherwise not. And if you go through a ceremony which is not some worship is done or the God is worshipped, and you say the marriage has taken place, that is not at all a ceremony as far as the marriage is concerned. The ceremony as per the religion is required to be taken, then only it will constitute a valid marriage, otherwise not. And hence if that is done, marriage ceremony fraudulently gone through without lawful marriage, it doesn't become lawful marriage. Then the liability, one who has done the act, namely one who dishonestly or whoever dishonestly or with a fraudulent intention, this may be a dishonest intention or fraudulent intention, maybe on the part of the man or maybe on the part of the woman, and knowing that he is not thereby lawfully married, shall be punished with imprisonment of either discretion for term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine, as far as section 496 of the Indian Penal Code is concerned. With this now we start discussing section 494, which I mean, if you refer to English law, this term is known as bigamy, means marrying during the lifetime of either spouse. When the marriage tie is in existence, even if a husband wants to marry a second woman, he cannot marry. And if a woman wants to marry a second man, she cannot marry. And if at all he or she marries, that constitutes liability for the offence of defined by section 494 of the Indian Penal Code. And then there is only one exception, and the exception is applicable as far as Muslims are concerned, where one Muslim can have 4 wives at a time. But one Muslim woman cannot have 4 husbands. No, she can have only, one husband. And if he marries a 5th woman, that will constitute liability. But otherwise, for rest of the religion, marrying during it says section 494 says, whoever having a husband or wife living marries in case in which such marriage is void, by reason of its taking place during the life of such husband or wife, shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for term which may extend to 7 years, and shall also be liable to fine. The marriage, when he has got a husband or wife leaving and marries again, so if the husband marries or the wife marries in a case in which that marriage becomes void, because as long as the first marriage tie is in existence, second marriage becomes what is known as null and void. There can be a chance of a marriage only in a case where a decree of divorce is passed by the competent court. That is one thing, where the marriage tie will come to an end. And then after death, and hence, what is the wording? Whoever having a husband or wife living, after the death of the husband, by all means wife can marry, or after the death of the wife, by all means husband can marry, no doubt about it. But if he marries or she marries, husband or wife, as they marry, or any one of them marries in a case in which such marriage is void, by reason of its taking place during the life of such husband or wife, shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years, and shall also be liable to fine. So this is marrying during the lifetime of either spouse is made punishable as far as section 494 is concerned. But to this section there are 2 exceptions. The first exception says this section does not extend to any person whose marriage with such husband or wife has been declared void by a court of competent jurisdiction. So the husband and wife, they marry, but their marriage, if it is declared void by the court of competent jurisdiction, and now in that case, if the husband marries or the wife marries, as there was no first marriage, the first marriage was declared as void by the competent court, the question of liability as far as section 4. So this is an exception, that those they say that they were married but their marriage was declared void by the court of competent jurisdiction, in that case marrying by husband or the marriage by wife will not constitute liability. This is an first exception as far as section 494 is concerned. And the second exception deals with nor to any person who contracts a marriage during the life of a former husband or wife, if such husband or wife at the time of subsequent marriage shall have been continually absent from such person for the space of 7 years, and shall not have been heard of by such person as being alive within that time, provided the person contracting such subsequent marriage shall, before such marriage takes place, inform the person with whom such marriage is contracted of the real state of fact so far as the same are within his or her knowledge. So now, if it happens that after the marriage the husband has left the place and gone somewhere, or wife has left the place of the husband and gone somewhere, and then by resorting to all means it is not possible to find out the person, then if such a person shall have been if he is continually absent from such a person for the space of 7 years, and shall not have been heard by such person as being alive within that time. So if this is for a period of 7 years, nobody hears regarding the same person, then there is a presumption of what is known as civil death, with which you shall be dealing as far as the provisions of the Indian Evidence Act is concerned. So if the man is being heard continually for a period of 7 years, there is a presumption that he is not in this world, because one who is in this world will be definitely heard by somebody. Somebody will definitely hear of him. Maybe relatives, maybe friend, maybe anybody. But if it is not, then, and if such a person, if wife goes, waits for a period of 7 years, resorted to all means, could not find out the wife, and marries after that. So if he marries after 7 years, then even though the wife is alive, that will not constitute liability, because that falls under exception as far as section 494 of the Indian Penal Code is concerned. With this now, section 495 deals with same offence, namely the offence as defined by section 494 with concealment, and in case of section 494 we have also dealt if the person is continuously absent for a period of 7 years, when one who wants to marry, provided that the person contracting such subsequent marriage, when he is marrying, shall, before such marriage takes place, inform the person with whom such marriage is contracted of the real state of facts so far as the same are within his or her knowledge. Whatever is known to him must be made very clear with the person with whom he or she is going to marry, and that is made very clear as far as section 494 of the Indian Penal Code is concerned. And now section 495 says, whoever commits the offence defined in last preceding section, having concealed from the person with whom the subsequent marriage is contracted the fact of former marriage, shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. So, one who commits the offence as per section 494, for which punishment is 7 years, and now one who commits the offence as defined by section 494, but what he does, and then he commits the offence, but then such a person, he has what he has done. Section 495 says, whoever commits the offence defined in the last preceding section, having concealed from the person, he doesn't tell the person with whom the subsequent marriage is contracted the fact of the former marriage. He doesn't talk about anything as far as the former marriage is concerned, shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for term which may extend to 10 years. So it's serious form, and hence it's serious, hence the punishment as per section 494 the punishment is up to 7 years. As per section 495 the punishment is up to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine as far as this is concerned. With this we come to the last section, and that is section 497 of the Indian Penal Code, which defines the offence of adultery. And what it says, whoever has a sexual intercourse, this is first ingredient, the person has a sexual intercourse, a man has got a sexual intercourse with a person who is and whom he knows or has reason to believe to be the wife of another man. So this is a sexual intercourse with a man, by a man with a woman whom he knows or he has reason to believe to be wife of another man. And then if it is without the consent or connivance of that man, such sexual intercourse not amounting to the offence of rape. So it is with the consent of the wife, it is with the consent of the wife of some other person. But if it is, and then it will not amount to the offence of rape, because it is with the consent of the woman. When the sexual intercourse is against her will or without her consent, as dealt by section 375, that will amount to the offence of rape. So it is not offence of rape. And then if it is without consent or connivance of the husband, so if there is consent on the part of the husband, or if there is connivance of the part of the husband, that will not constitute offence of adultery as defined by section 497. So it says, whoever has a sexual intercourse with a person who is and whom he knows or has reason to believe to be wife of another man without the consent or connivance of that man, such sexual intercourse not amounting to the offence of rape is guilty of the offence of adultery. So such a person is liable for the offence of adultery as defined by section 497 and shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 5 years or with fine or with both. And the last part of the section is very important. It says, in such a case, the wife shall not be punishable as an abettor. So when the offense is, in this case, the wife allows him to have a sexual intercourse, she allows somebody other than husband to have a sexual intercourse, and hence that will, in such a situation, she is not made punishable as an abettor, because it is express provision in such a case the wife shall not be punishable as an abettor as far as section 497 of the Indian Penal Code is concerned. With this now, we shall be proceeding to the last part as far as our lectures on the Indian Penal Code are concerned. And in the last part, what we shall be dealing? We shall be dealing with chapter 21 of the Indian Penal Code, which defines the offence of defamation. Defamation is the offence with which we shall be dealing as far as chapter 21 of the Indian Penal Code is concerned, where we shall be dealing with section 499 of the Indian Penal Code, which defines what do you mean by defamation, and then section 500, section 501 and 502 are the sections which deal with punishment, with which we will continue our discussion as far as next part is concerned.